think there's just these deeper fundamental questions of like, what sort of relationship do we want with these devices? Like people are talking so much now about the destruction of the world through out of control superintelligence, right? I'm actually going to present a paper at an event in Montenegro that's put on by a group of thinkers from this UHERO Center of Practical Ethics.
So there you go. You kind of understand what the topic is. Interesting topic, but I don't know, I guess kind of in my view, that means to an end. I have a lot to say about this. Wrote my notes down for this one. It's not a debate or anything like that. They're talking about seduction with AI, and it's more than that, but where is this taking us? Where is AI taking us? Where is AI with as far as computers, and they're talking about porn and AI. Can you just imagine the ramifications, which are already taking place already with sex robots? And I don't even want to say what, well, maybe I will, but I just want to tell the truth on this. Can you imagine the things that they're trying to invent in that sphere? So before I start, and I will start in just a second, I'm asking that anyone who comes across this video say a prayer for me. I hit my head. You can see the yellow there. It's like taking up a quarter of my forehead. As I said in my other videos, I was like doing the glass on my curio cabinet, and I have a French door right beside it, and the French door has I have a covering over my French door to block some light while I'm sleeping. And anyways, it was blocked over it, and I bent down really quickly, and I just smack. And so I pinch both nerves. If my life wasn't bad enough with intractable pain, but a pinched nerve on both sides. I can feel it on both sides. It goes up my head, up my neck. It went into my eye, got an earache too. So it's going all over those pathways. Please say a prayer for me, because I need prayers right now for this. I've had a very tough 3 days. So 4 days. So let's get on with this. And welcome to the Heart of David.
The destruction of the world through out of control superintelligence, right? I'm actually going to present a paper at an event in Montenegro that's put on by a group of thinkers from this UHERO Center of Practical Ethics.
I have to interrupt quite a lot in this because, there's a lot to say, and I think I'm the perfect person to speak about it because I grew up in the time when everything was changing. So in 1990, so when he says that, and he speaks of the destruction of the world and everything like that, like this is a reality we're talking about here, okay? Possible reality. I was supposed to graduate in 1997, high school, and I didn't though. But anyways, I remember my friend in 1997 had a cell phone. And there was cell phones before then. The first cell phone was in 1978. That was a satellite phone, but where I'm talking when people could actually have one in their hand, mass produced. I saw him with it, and I knew right then that was the end of privacy. That was it. And I knew that was going to be the destruction of the world. People weren't going to be left alone anymore. And that brings into view things like 1984, right?
Thinkers who have really done a lot of work on enhancement questions, some of whom are pretty open or supportive of transhumanist ideas, right? So it'll be a lot of fun to interact with them in person. And the whole theme of the conference is about existential risk. Like, what's going to destroy humanity, or potentially what could destroy humanity. And we've been thinking about existential risks for a while, right? I mean, with the development of the atomic bomb, with
Have to stop there. The question is, there's a lot of stuff in this. My question is, who released AI? Who was the person who released AI, and why? I mean, we see these things with Elon Musk, and we say to ourselves, oh, he's trying to save us and stuff, but he's releasing it. He's doing the Neuralink, he's doing the green agenda, even though he's speaking opposite. But I'm not going to give my opinions on that, though. I just see the opposite happening of what people are saying. So they released AI. I mean, surely they knew that this was going to be an issue. Surely they knew what it could do. Surely they knew it would screw up school kids. It would write papers. It would write songs. Surely they knew it would screw up movie scripts, poems, everything. Surely they knew that this was going to happen. And when he says bombs, when he mentions bombs, even with thousands of hydrogen bombs, who are we to say that's the way this all unfolds, right? And I think that's what he's kind of getting at here. And what was I going to say? Anyways, so AI is out, and let's just keep listening to this.
questions about to what extent climate change will affect us. We've been thinking about these issues, and now there's talk of super intelligence getting out of control, possibly even acquiring consciousness and its own plans and its own projects and destroying us Terminator style. Mm-hmm. But in my paper, I'm going to look at another question. What if the apocalypse looks less like Oppenheimer, right, about the atomic bomb, and it looks more like this movie Her that came out almost a decade ago?
Explain this to me. I've heard good things about it. Haven't seen it. Not sure if I should. You tell me.
Right. Yeah. So it's a fascinating movie.
You know what? In 1991, so that's when Terminator 2 came out. There's a lot of stuff I have to answer to on here. And so that was 1991. I was 13 years old, and I went to the theaters with my friends to see it. And it was almost like a joke at that time to think like anything could ever happen like that, Skynet and all that type of stuff. But wow, it's like happening. It's happening, isn't it? And it's different than what you ever would have thought in a time like that. You don't think about those things, right? But pretty crazy, all the stuff that's going on, the stuff that we have no idea. There are always many steps ahead of us.
I actually watched it on my way over to the United States again. And I was quite impressed by how applicable it is to the present moment, because the idea is that you have this man, Theodore, whose job is to write moving, personalized, handwritten letters on behalf of people to their loved ones. So your wedding anniversary is coming up. You really want to do something special for your wife, but gosh, just so busy right now, and I'm going to outsource this. So poor Theodore is there in the office all day writing these intimate, loving, attentive, handwritten letters.
With your handwriting?
Well, he has a system, a computer system to make handwriting. So I suppose he could just choose any style.
I see, okay.
And it could be of the client, right? So he's involved in all of these intimate relationships all day. But in
Tell me, do you think when I remember when Her came out. I wasn't well then. I really wasn't well then, but I remember seeing it. I think I was like maybe couch bound, and the TV was on all the time. So I do remember seeing it, and I remember thinking, this is the way it's going. And tell me in the comments section, do you think it's predictive programming? Because it wasn't far-fetched after all, was it? This is the kind of stuff I saw when I was growing up. I could see something coming.
Real life, when it comes time to clock out, he's actually quite lonely, and he's undergoing a divorce, right? His marriage is falling apart, and he's very lonely, very vulnerable, right?
Should we do a little spoiler disclaimer here? For those who still have not yet watched it?
Yes, I may spoil.
That's okay. So spoiler disclaimer.
Some details here.
Yeah.
So you can just mute the program for a minute or so.
Yeah.
Flash the time screen where
Sure.
we're done with the movie.
Sure.
And so it turns out that in this this job, they've decided to develop a new operating system. It's basically advanced AI. And this new operating system is highly personalized. So you just start it up, you answer some questions about yourself, and then you say which voice and so forth you want. And then boom, the operating system kicks in. In this case, it's Scarlett Johansson. She's the voice. She doesn't appear physically, but she's the voice of the operating system. And she comes on, and then shortly after the beginning of this new relationship with Theodore, Theodore gives greater access. So yeah, go ahead, look through my emails, look through my messages. And of course, as the AI system is coming to all the info, it's getting a pretty good idea of Theodore's hopes, dreams, fears, frustrations, loneliness, and basically a kind of friendship and romantic relationship.
Wow, eh? Is that not... So that's 2014, okay? So if you haven't seen that movie, like that's Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett Johansson. I don't remember it doing well right away. But maybe it did. Anyway, this is like, it almost feels to me from the stuff that I do see in this world. I don't pay so much attention to it anymore, but from all the stuff that I looked at before, it's almost like they're pushing us into this, like cattle into this, whatever. I'm not trying to put down women, okay? Don't take that as I'm saying this. There's a lot of women who like today, who have crazy dating preferences. They all only want men who are this and this and this, making it very difficult for men. There's a reason why North American men are not dating North American women anymore. And I don't blame them. It's because of the culture. It's because of what the culture has done to people. It's what it's done to people. People aren't educated anymore about the realities of life, and it's just ridiculous. But anyways, I saw this coming. The first thing I want to say about artificial intelligence right now, I'm not putting down women, okay? I'm just putting down what the culture has done to people. Like there's a lot of narcissistic women out there. There are men too, but there's a lot of them in North America. Number one, if you're a believer of Jesus Christ, I'm asking you, don't go into AI. I made videos, I'm telling you, I get sleep paralysis if I go even look at somebody's tarot video. No, I'm not talking about watching it. I'm talking about even just staring at the video that's on the suggestion. That's how easy it is. Those things are demonic. Think of Ouija. Think of all those things. Do you think demons are infesting those? Yes, they are. Don't be fooled by that. So, do you think when you sign up and log into artificial intelligence, do you think you're opening a door? I believe you are. But I can honestly understand why men may gravitate towards a female voice, and woman, a male voice. Someone who's not going to get mad at you ever, someone who's going to understand you. And can't you see that's where this is heading? And even more than that, they're going to be real. They're pretty soon. These things are going to be real. They're not just going to be voices in bots, and they're going to make them affordable. I did an article on this quite a while back.
Develops here, and so it's this intimate bond that's created. But what's so fascinating is it's not that, Scarlett Johansson appears and she's so beautiful and she deceives him and she's really a robot, but you can't tell. No bodily interaction, just the sound of her voice, the way she's always there for him. She's always there.
How many years was this produced before the recent AI developments?
Yeah, so this is fascinating. This is 2014.
Wow.
This is 2014. So we're like, oh yeah, wow, sci-fi, futuristic. Like there's no way that Siri or Alexa could ever do this. And of course now we are immersed in the world of generative AI. And you can go.
It's no coincidence. Obviously there are people who've been working on this since forever. AI, probably, I'm guessing maybe even since 2000. Question is, how far ahead are they? I'm going to show you a robot, in about 5 more minutes. You'll see.
I don't know if you have a Snapchat account, but you could go to a Snapchat account and there are chatbots available. And these chatbots will engage in a dialogue with you. And, how's your day? How are you doing? How's this relationship going? Can I give you some advice, right?
And they remember previous conversations?
Oh, yeah. They have plenty of data on us.
They remember, like
right.
They are they and they remember.
Exactly. Yeah. And so they have plenty of data information. And that's the thing, right? In the operating system of her, the system is just going through information and data of Theodore. The type of information and data that we're constantly accumulating and that we're constantly giving out by every click and every scroll and every interaction that we make online and social media. And so these systems are sophisticated enough to respond realistically. And so you go to Snapchat today, this is real life, not the movie Her anymore, real life, and you can get relationship advice. But I mean, unfortunately, it's out of control. Some people have done experiments and they've gone on and they've presented themselves as, say, a 13-year-old girl and said, and I have this relationship, he's twice my age, my parents don't understand, but I think it's going somewhere. What should we do for a date, right? And it's so the Snapchat is just there to give advice. And
just, it sounds so innocent, right? Just think of where this is going. What would Peter or Paul or what would Jesus say about this? That's the only question, right? Let me tell you something about AI. I made it. No, I didn't make it. I won't go on it. Do you know what they can do with AI? So what they've released to us is just like a beta form of this. It's just a weak form. And it came out of nowhere. No one really knew that, the general population didn't know it was coming, but listen what they can do with it. If they decide to use this for war, so let's just say, okay, well, all right, North America has it. They've unleashed it and stuff like that. Well, the problem is that, since you did that, I'm China, I'm Russia, I'm this, I'm that. I'm going to use it. These things are getting smarter every day. They get smart. They get smarter every day. They're literally hiding and coding, so they're able to teach themselves. They're able to, the computer experts are able to age how far along they've come. So listen to this. I know I've said that a whole bunch of times, but you know what they could do if they truly unleash it? They can let's say Russia unleashes theirs, and say I live in Canada, they could say, they could put a malware hidden in whatever computer program to the water systems, to the gas lines, and they could explode them. They can change the pressure because they're controlled by computers. You see how dangerous this is? You guys have no idea. This is bad. This is really, really bad. And just imagine if they ever somehow could set off a nuclear device. I know they use all these different codes and 2 people and stuff like that, but who knows? Who knows?
And they're talking about entering into sexual relations, and the Snapchat bot is not there to judge or scold. It's there to recommend a good restaurant, recommend a good hotel.
The other thing, as he's saying here, there are horror stories too. There are people talking to, I don't know if they're true, and I'm not about to test it out, but they think that they're like disembodied spirits, right? If you've had sleep paralysis before, you know these things are real. I've heard of stories of them telling to commit suicide, okay? This can happen. It can happen.
Hotel room. And so you can see how these systems can so easily prey on our vulnerabilities and our needs. So that's why I say, okay, maybe the apocalypse in the future will involve weapons of mass destruction. Maybe these systems will go out of control, but I think well before that happens,
Brave New World.
Yeah.
That's what I'm reminded of.
Yes. But I mean, I think before this happens, we're just going to have a lot of lonely people out there, a lot of vulnerable people who find in the technology we already have, which is just going to get better, just going to find patterns in data more quickly and more accurately in the future. They're going to find in those systems a companion who is always there, who always listens, who never judges, who never spurns, who never gets angry, who is supportive. And okay, that's frightening. You can also throw in a bit of sex bot technology, which is developing.
Once you insert that into a robot, what does that look like? Yeah. So sex bot technology is advancing. And
I
mean, without getting graphic, explain what you mean by that. It's advancing.
So basically robotic structures that will offer sexual pleasure to clients, to men or women.
And these are human-looking robots? Or?
Yes. So the goal is to create increased.
Okay. So you know what? I've seen a lot of videos like this. Like I remember, especially when I was doing, like, I used to write articles, and I did one on the subject because I can see it coming, and well, it's already here. But one thing I find people are surprised by is just his reaction right there. Really, and that's why I'm going to show you what a robot can do without flesh on it, okay? Yes, they can put flesh on it. What's so hard to believe that if they can make them do flips and fly and do just about anything you can think of, why is it so hard to believe that they could make it feel real, right? Why is it to do things like that? And that's so dangerous because there's a lot of lonely people out there. And just take a look. And this is what I'm warning people. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying, hey, don't judge me for telling you not to sin. Yes, we all sin, but I'm trying to push you away from sin, away from sexual sin, because those are the hardest to beat, guys. Lust, lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, sexual stuff. You know, if you see so much on your computer, if it does, turn your computer off. And when I said, I won't even get into that, but because I found myself, into porn myself, I'm not ashamed to say that. Look at this. The porn is what? 60% porn, the internet. So, I was hardly the only one This is where it's all heading, and it's not good. And it takes people away from what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to get married. Now they're going to get married to robots. Literally.
Increasingly more human-like, realistic robotic structures. So there are still plenty of people who think, okay, this is the path. Like I kind of want that bodily sexual experience. And so that robot can provide it. And it's a similar logic, right? Like, oh, great, a robot who's never tired, who never gets angry, who never gets sick, who just wants to satisfy me.
I guess maybe a more general question. I didn't know that we were this advanced in robotics.
Yeah.
No big surprise, and listen to this. You remember the movie that just came out not too long ago, The Sound of Freedom, and how it seemed like Hollywood was trying to push away from it? And I'm not going to say, you know what word I'm going to say, right? PED. Can you imagine the stuff that they would make? And just the money and all that. And there was something I was going to say, and I'm losing my track of mind. But you get my point. Where it's going. Maybe I'll just show you quickly. Just give me a sec. Now, take a look at this. These robots right here, okay? When I say, just imagine how advanced those sex robots, which is the topic of this, and just people being lonely and going to AI for stuff. If they have stuff like this, and I imagine that, this would be headed towards soldiers at the battlefield, and believe me, they have them already. This is probably pretty old, this video. They're way ahead. Take a look. This is real.
Culmination of over a decade of hydraulic humanoid robotics work at Boston Dynamics. Atlas stands about 5 feet tall, weighs about 190 pounds. It's battery powered and hydraulically actuated with 28 degrees of freedom. It has RGB cameras and depth sensors, which provide input to its control system, and all of the computation required for control, perception, and estimation happens on board its 3 computers. Parkour is a useful organizing activity for our team because it highlights several challenges that we believe to be important. First, how do we build a high power density mobile robot?
How many places on Earth do you think are doing this all at once? And so they're just showing us, and I'm not going to look at the year right now, but I will after I do this. But it is pretty cool. It is very cool. But those things could be killing us very soon.
Forgot my tools again.
Crazy, eh? That's insane. That's just one type of robot too, by the way. Oh my. That just thing did a side flip.
Such a show off.
Wow, that's crazy. That's just one type of robot. There's a show they used to have, and the show was, it began off with just like a small ring. You probably know what I'm talking about. And they would make their little gadget robots and they would have weapons on them. They could have little guns on them. They could have a saw, and they would fight to the death. And it was really interesting to see. And I'm not kidding you. This is like maybe 20 years later since that, or more, 25, maybe even 30. Now they're in warehouses fighting with like machine guns, and there are things like you see in like Taiwan and South Korea, but I'm sure they have them here too. Just absolute. There's a lot of different stuff, guys.
Yeah, so I mean, I suppose we're on the initial stages. I'm sure it will get better in the sense of more accurate.
And what's crazy is how like pornography is really responsible for the quick advancement of the internet back in the early aughts. I imagine sex robots are going to be really the spearhead of advancements in robotics.
Sure.
Deep desire for sexual pleasure.
Absolutely. And so you have that whole realm of the...
I know what I was going to say before. That, they're not just going to make sex robots for adults, okay? Let's just say that. You know what I said. But can you remember the amount of money they said it makes? Oh, that's what I was going to say. The amount of money that it makes to have a sex slave. I think I didn't see the movie, okay? I tried to rent it, but I couldn't. It wouldn't let me. And I would still watch it, but what did he say? He said that drugs, like cocaine, whatever drugs, can make you a certain amount of money. But they said like a child can make you that times 5 every day. Isn't that disgusting? That's the truth. And this is why all this stuff is going to have to come to a halt. And I believe God will bring it to a halt. This is happening too quickly. People are talking about it too loosely. I can't wait till it ends. I like technology. I really do. But I see its destruction very quickly. And I grew up right in the middle of it.
The sex bots. You also have this kind of parallel realm that's maybe closer to the movie Her, of individuals who just want their relationships with artificial intelligence more fully recognized. A few years ago, there was a case that gained some attention of this man, Mr. Kondo, in Japan, who wanted an officially recognized marriage with an AI system who was presented only as a hologram. So here was not someone who was looking for all of the physical pleasures of a sex bot, but who recognized this is a hologram, but we have such intimacy that I want this recognized. And so you have that kind of disembodied relationship with AI, you have the sex bots, and you have a small, but I imagine growing community of digisexuality. Okay, so a few years ago, a professor wrote a whole scientific, peer-reviewed article on digisexuality, explaining this phenomenon of these different relationships, but kind of going further. I'm not just saying like, hey, isn't this weird? But saying, these are different legitimate ways of living human sexuality.
Can you imagine this conversation taking place 20 years ago? Do you think if they saw it coming, they would stop it? Wow. The thing is that for a lonely man or woman, I'm not trying to point out women, okay? I'm just going to, what I think is that, I think I'll shut my mouth, but for the most part, I think it's people who would want a companion like that, right? And I'm going to have to say that I don't blame them. Hey, I get really lonely myself, a lot of physical pain. Really tough to deal with. And, you think of that, hey, I could have someone to speak to. And it probably would be like a real conversation. It might even help your confidence. But there's no way I could ever do that because of God. I don't know if I would do it anyways. Otherwise, maybe I would. I don't know. But the reality is that you're always going to have that percentage of people that are going to do things the incorrect way. There's always good and there's always bad people who are going to take things further. That's the reality here.
And just as people who were same-sex attracted or had gender dysphoria were persecuted, were discriminated against, these people are being discriminated against. And as this spreads, they will be further discriminated against. So what we need to do is already anticipate that and see this as just one more legitimate form of sexual identity. So it's fascinating because we see this again and again in history, right? It's not just the behavior. It's the behavior that then becomes a kind of identity. This is who I am. Remember I
want to tell you about a course that I have created for men to overcome pornography. It is called strive21.com/Matt. You go there right now, or if you text STRIVE to 66866, we'll send you the link. It's 100% free, and it's a course I've created to help men, to give them the tools to overcome pornography.
Okay, I'll stop there, but I'll finish off with my own pep talk to you. In my other videos, saying, I'm trying to give you guys tips to get away from porn, to shut that computer off. You know what? You know what's sickening? I don't go on places where those things usually can pop up for me, like ads of like whatever, naked women or whatever. It's really cutthroat today. Like they'll just put it in front of your face. I can go on Bible Gateway and read the Bible, and on the left hand side there's half naked women. And I've written to Bible Gateway, they don't care. Okay, they don't care. But you can go on the ticker on the bottom of your laptop and go click, put your cursor, on the news, and then you open it up. By the way, if you open that up, and never open up a news story there. If it's attached with the computer, yes, but any ones that are not, don't ever open them up. They're likely malware or ransomware of some kind. But there's a lot of stuff like Game of Thrones, like a naked dragon queen there, whatever name it is, and you see it over and over and over again. Don't you understand what's happening? I believe the internet can be used for good, but I think it's Satan's kingdom. You heard what I said. I think it's Satan's kingdom. You can I've never seen anything more evil. I don't think there's anything more evil. But you can use it for good if you have self-control. And that's what I've been trying to say. I've been trying to teach people discipline and self-control because it's important to have those things. It's very important to have those things, in my opinion. Maybe not every person ever is like that, but in my life and the stuff that I went through in my life, to get away from such stuff required discipline. Thanks for watching this video. Pretty strange topic, but yeah, hope you enjoyed it.